Okay, so SUMARI Dark Arts video 131. Let's begin. So, in this video, I will get into something a bit serious, and I'm going to touch on the nature of addictions, but on a positive side of how addictions could also be signs of other things. Now, in life, we've all had family members, unfortunately, family members, friends, loved ones, co workers that exhibited some form of addiction. Even ourselves could have exhibited some form of addiction. And, the funny thing about addictions is that they can come in all types of forms. It could be in the form of shopping, it could be sexual, it could be drug related, alcohol related, which is the same thing. But, they come in all forms, unfortunately, because there's so many things to be addicted to in this three-dimensional reality. And as I said in the past, that because physical reality it has such an impact on us, some of us do tend to get a bit fixated on things here. And that could lead to our downfall in this existence. And it has throughout what we know as time here, even though all time is simultaneous. But in speaking in terms of physical reality, throughout the centuries, many have fallen victim to, addictions. And it's just a sad thing to happen. But a lot of times when we have these addictions, what it really comes down to is that we don't really have control over ourselves. We don't have control over ourselves. We don't have control over our thought patterns. We don't have control spiritually, mentally, psychically. It all comes down to control. And there's a lot of different ways that addictions can come into play. Sometimes it's just the individual is looking for an escape. I would say pretty much always the individual is looking for an escape of some form. And the addiction is the way to soothe that escape and help them get to where they're trying to get to. Although I think at some point the individual gets so wrapped up into the addiction that they don't even realize where they're trying to get to anymore. It's like you started off with it, it made you feel good, and you did it again, and you do it again, you do it again. But at some point, you claim it within your internal dialogue that you're doing it to get that same high, that same feeling of escape for whatever your current situation is in this reality. But actually, you even start to forget what was the original so-called high you were trying to reach, and you're just doing it out of a habit now. And it gets to a point where, sorry, keeping track of people coming and going. I don't want people walking in on me in the middle of filming. But yeah, it gets to the point of where you don't even know what you're doing anymore. You're just doing it, have no reason. There's no rhyme or reason why. You just fall into this habit. But I, being the way I am, I'm going to give you a different spin on it and try to make you see it from a different perspective. Why do you have this addiction? Or why have others had these addictions? Where do they originate from? Now, I'm quite sure, and there are people out there that get paid lots of money to help people find where these things originate from. But here on this channel, we're looking at things always from a multi-dimensional perspective. So, I'm not saying I'm a mental health specialist at all. And if you have a mental health specialist, please continue to go to them. So I'm no way in shape or form saying that I'm offering any type of mental health services. However, if you feel that you are trying to lean more towards a spiritual life or a life of consciousness expansion, then this is the channel for you. So let's look at it from this perspective, right? And I always speak from my own experiences to share with you. I've come to discover that a lot of times the reason why we do certain things is because we have a lot of built up energy within us. It's a lot of built up energy, and we need to release it. And when that energy is released, we feel relief. Obviously, there's a relief of a release of energy. But for some individuals, it's not a simple matter of just, well, I got a lot of energy and I need to release it. It's almost like an obsessive need where you must release this energy. If not, it could take form in many ways. It could be a violent outburst. It could be thoughts of ending your physical existence here. It's taking on certain type of harmful substances. It could manifest in a whole bunch of different ways. But the key point I want to focus on here is you have this abundance of energy, right? And you say, for example, people who go through sex addiction. Now, some people, they just seem that they want to sleep with anything. They don't care what it looks like. Legs, no legs, hair, no hair. Who knows? Maybe even just a head. I mean, some people are sick out here, but hey, this is the world we're in right now in this existence. And unfortunately, some people do feel that they just want to have that release. They don't care what it's with, who it's with, they just need the release. And that's because, as I've said, we're not human, right? We're spiritual beings with forms of energy. We're multidimensional beings. We exist on multiple realms of reality all throughout existence. So we're in this physical vessel, and let's be honest, like the physical body is just simply not enough to maintain all of the energy that we have. I mean, it does, and it does a good job. But we're so much more, and there's always a constant pulling of other existences, things going on, the dream state, the non-dream state, which everything's a dream, if you want to get technical. But yeah, it's always pulling on us, and we always have this inner knowing that there's something else going on. It's like a nagging feeling that there's always something else going on, or there's more going on than what we can perceive with our five senses in this reality. And because we feel that way, it leads to a feeling of a type of uneasiness where you just feel it's not enough. Nothing ever feels enough in this reality, right? Have you ever noticed that no matter what you get, no matter what you have, it's just not enough? We always feel that way, that it's simply just not enough. And we shouldn't be content with whatever we just have here. And we don't have to be. Now, that also in itself could be expressed in many different ways. Now, if you want to go out and try to acquire some of these things that people want, hey, that's up to you. That's your choice. But that also falls back into the whole obsession and addiction. Because why do you need these things? Why do you feel you need them? What is the urge? What is it? Why can't you just be content with what you have? Now, obviously, we all want to do better in life and we want to have nice things, and hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But I do believe that some of us get a bit carried away with that, and we start to obsess over things that we don't really need to live in this reality. I should say it just exists, continue to exist. Now, what is my point of saying all of this? The point is this. I'm going to put forward something right now, and I've done it for myself, which means if I did it, then you could do it. And others have done it as well, that I have shared this with and have told me about what their results were. But right now, I'm going to speak directly to, now this applies to anyone. This could work for anyone, and it will work even more on a much more potent level for individuals who actually have current addictions at the moment. Now, I hope no one has an addiction. I'm not hoping that people have addictions, but unfortunately, some people do, whether they be small. Some of them could be very big. Now, this gets a bit technical, right? Because it goes into, okay, let's say, I'm going to make a scenario here. Let's say that you have a sexual addiction, right? And you have to get out there, you have to go to the club, you got to get to these places, you got to try to hook up with somebody, you don't care, you're on all the dating apps and you're looking for people and you don't care what they look like, 100 pounds, 200, male, female, transgender, it doesn't matter. You just have that drive that you need to release yourself. But you're doing it in an unhealthy manner to the point where you're not being protective of yourself, you're not protecting yourself or people that you might have other relationships with. You might be creeping around. There's a lot of different things how this could go. But it comes back to this energy that I'm talking about that's built up within you. Have this massive abundance of energy that needs to be released. The problem is you're not channeling it in the proper directions. That's really what it all boils down to. You're not channeling that energy. You need to redirect it. And if you are one of these individuals that have this abundance of energy, these addictive qualities, these addictive habits, well, today is your lucky day. Because I'm going to show you how, if you are willing to try something new. Because, a lot of us, we do want to aspire to something bigger or of a more mental, psychic, or spiritual level. We do want to expand our consciousness, but then we also have these addictions. And they kind of like go back and forth and they clash sometimes. But what I'm offering you is a way to not only stop the addiction, but you could also redirect that energy. And that energy that was used towards the addiction will be very powerful for you in these other realms. See, when you start going into, as I've said, it's all connected. You start getting into lucid dreaming, out of body experiences, all the same thing, but people could debate on that. But basically, once you start having these non-physical these journeys into non-physical reality, well, that requires energy as well. It does require energy. And where does this energy come from? Well, it comes from a lot of things. If you have a life of exercise, you exercise a lot, hey, when you go to bed at night or during the day, that energy has to be burned off somehow. And it also that energy could be used to propel yourself into these non-physical states even easier. If you are withholding sex and you're not releasing on a sexual energy level, that buildup of energy will lead to you being able to propel yourself into these non-physical states. If you're having a lot of sexual activities and the release of all that energy, once you've released it, can help lead you to these non-physical states. There are many different ways, but I'm going to tie it all back to if you have the addictive nature. Here's your lucky point. Stop cold turkey. Now I know people say, well, that doesn't sound like anything new. That's like Alcoholics Anonymous 101. Hey, one step at a time, stop cold turkey and all that. But look, this is what I'm getting to, right? See, if you stop now, first you have to have your goal. What is your mission? What are you trying to do? All right. Say, for example, I want to refocus my life more in a positive nature on the nature of existence, reality, non-physical reality, my inner world, my inner self. All of these things I want to reconnect with. You stop whatever you're doing cold turkey. Cigarettes, pornography, going out to the club, whatever it is, if you stop cold turkey, if you just suddenly stop, it's going to have an effect on you. But here's what you do. What you do is, there's going to be a backlash, a backup of energy. Some may call it withdrawal symptoms. You will go through it. But here's the thing. You channel all that energy back inside of you. Now, this is a two-part thing, right? Because not only are you channeling the energy back into you, you also have to have a conscious mindset of, I no longer want to be weak. See, that's what it comes from, right? A lot of this stuff is willpower. And even if you have these addictive qualities and you know that I might be weak, I need to have a drink, I gotta get out, I gotta get this, I gotta do that, I gotta sleep with that person. There's also a portion of you somewhere that knows, I know this is wrong. I know that this is not being beneficial to me. I know this is being very detrimental to my life and my mental health and all around just health. It's bad for me. So the fact that you are consciously aware of it means that there's also another portion of you that knows that, well, what if I just don't do it? And then it comes back down to an issue of, well, how strong do you want to be? And that's where the fun begins, right? Because it comes down to, how powerful do you really want to be when talking in terms of non-physical existence? You could lie to yourself every day and say, oh, I'm powerful, I'm very spiritual now, and yes, I've bought this special videotape and I've watched it, and I read this book and now I understand it all. And while you're saying that, oh, this is an amazing book, it's very spiritual, and I'm just gonna have another drink, and I'll read chapter 2 again. See, this is what happens, right? And you have to decide, how powerful do you want to be? How much power do you want? I mean, you have all the power already, but you know what I'm talking about. You have to make a conscious effort to channel that power and channel that energy. And it starts with yourself. It all comes back to you creating your own reality. This is all tied into it. And speaking from personal experience, every time in my life, addictions come in many different ways. And it's like a wave, and it goes through your life. One addiction in my life, one time it could have been video games, another time it could have been comics, another times it could be action figures, another time it could be women. There's always things that you get addicted to. And you have to find ways to maintain and control yourself and not fall off. So, back to the story and back to the lesson. What you do is you decide, I'm not going to have that drink. I'm not going to go to the club tonight. I'm not going to buy this item that I'm obsessing over that I don't really need. Now, you will get this withdrawal feeling, these withdrawal symptoms where you feel uneasy, you feel on edge, and hey, you might start trembling, and you just gotta have it. But hey, see, it's not an addiction right there that has you trembling and shaking. So you can't get to it, right? You can't get to that girl, you can't get to that guy, you can't get to the club, can't get that drink, can't get that illegal substance, whatever it is. So now you're like, oh man, I gotta have it, I need it. But see, that trembling, you think, oh, this is the addiction, it's taking over. Look at it from another point of view. That's your power. You have so much power right now, it wants to come out. It's fighting to get out. You need to take control of that and redirect it. So you harness that energy. You harness that power. You harness that addiction. And from there, you redirect it back into yourself and take it as a form of power control, strength, and you say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that because it's not beneficial to me. And I want to, basically, I want all my power. I want it all. I don't want a part of it. I don't want portions of it. I want all my power. And I know that if I do that, it takes away from my power. So therefore, I'm basically taking my power back and rechanneling and redirecting it. And you will start to notice some changes. Now, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy, especially if you have any of the more serious addictions, alcoholism, drugs, things like that. But it really comes down to, how strong do you want to be? Now I know people can say, "Oh, you don't understand. It's difficult. It's a hard time. It's a yes, 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 yes to all of that." That's why you have to be powerful. And you know, anyone who's an alcoholic, anyone who's doing illegal substances, either anyone who's just sleeping around with people, you all know, everyone knows this is not good for me. But you just don't care because you just like the feeling. But then you also at the same time may be looking for something more on a more non-physical level. So rechannel that energy back into yourself. This is what you have to, that's how you have to do it. And you will start to notice that the feelings will go away at some point, the withdrawal type feelings. And then you start noticing other changes in your life. Life starts becoming a bit easier. You start to notice coincidences. You start to notice that when you go to sleep at night, the dream state seems more clearer. It's no longer just a fog or random thoughts or darkness and you wake up. You may start to have more out of body experiences in the waking hours. In the daytime, you take a nap or you're in the middle of other, not hobbies, but just other things that you do in the house when washing dishes or something. You may notice your mind traveling a bit further into your thoughts. You may start coming up with concepts of things that you normally would not have thought about if you were still engaging in those other activities. And what happens from that point from there? Now, of course, the addictive feelings are always going to be there. And speaking from experience, every time you, as they say, have a relapse and you fall back to whatever that habit was, it's as if you lose all your power. And this becomes a type of a process of you might get 2 days in, you feel great, and then you fall off. And you might have a drink, or you might go sleep with some random person, or you might go buy something that you shouldn't have bought. And then you go, and then the depression comes, and you go, oh man, why did I do that? Damn, I fucked up. All right, I'm gonna start over on Monday. And you start over on Monday, and who knows, maybe that time you might make it to a week. And then you might have another relapse. And some people may go through this over and over again for a long time, and that could be the new addiction of you start on this path, you get a week, you get 2 weeks, you fall off, a month you fall off, a year you fall off, which a year is amazing. And that's what I want to get to is like if you made it that far, it does fall into a sort of one day at a time type of thing. But when you really push yourself, you get to a certain length in times of physical time, like duration of days and months and a year, why do you want to ruin that? If you made it a month, that's 1 month of power that you've built up, 1 month of good work that you put into yourself. Why throw it away? Just go another day. Now you have a month and 1 day. Now you have a month and 2 days. Hey, you reach a month and 2 weeks. And it just keeps going. And when you get to the higher numbers, when you start getting into months and you hit a year, it's like, well, hey, man, I'm on a year now. I really don't want to blow it now. You could fall back and say, well, I did a year, and now I'm just going to, I fell off. It was one time, but hey, I did it a year, right? So I'll just get back on the horse and we'll do it again. And you could do that. But why mess up your power flow? Why ruin it? You're already on a good track record. Just keep going with it. And the good things will continue to manifest. The good things will continue to happen for you. But just don't give up. Don't give up. Don't fall off. And remember, it all comes back to how powerful do you want to be. And in those moments, you have to think to yourself, if you feel the urge to grab that bottle and pour a drink, you have to say, am I really this weak? Am I really this weak of an individual? I've made it this far, and now I'm just going to throw it all away to have a simple drink. You already know the outcome of that. You take the drink, you lie to yourself, you say, well, it was just one drink, and I'm powerful. I've done this for 6 months now, and it's okay, but my powers have grown. And see, what happens is you've made it that far, right? And then you have a relapse. And then, now, you already have the power. The power is already within us, whether we do these things or not. It's just that by not taking part in the more addictive things, they come much easier. And you have more breakthroughs than when you're doing them, engaging in addictive habits. But once you have gone out the distance and then you have a relapse and fall off, subconsciously, because you believe I've gone this far. See, this is like, it's like a trick kind of. Because you've gone that far and you believe that you're powerful and you are powerful, having that relapse does something to you internally. And you say, oh man, I messed up. Now you start to say, oh, I didn't lucid dream last night. What happened? I was lucid dreaming every day for 6 months. I had one drink and it all just disappeared. And see, this is yourself working against yourself now. Because once I said before, once again, everything is a belief. So even though all of this is real, and even though you're manifesting your reality, at the same time you have been putting forth energy into, I'm bettering my life, I'm channeling all my addictive habits and energy back into myself, making myself stronger. And now my power is taking off and I'm experiencing all type of insights and all type of adventures in my internal world, and I'm having amazing coincidences that are not really coincidences because everything's connected. And then you have that drink, or you go sleep with that random person at the counter and in the bar, and you notice all your power just dissipates. It's gone. And it's not gone. And that's the funny thing about this reality, and you and me and all of us here. The power is not gone. The power is still there. But because you fell off, the belief internally kicks in. You screwed up. And now you got to pay the price. And that price could be in the form of, well, maybe now it can hit in all types of different ways. Maybe you just can't lucid dream, or you can't have these feelings for a day. It could be a week. Could be a month. Could be a year. Could be 6 years. The point is, why risk it? If you're already feeling great, why risk it for this one thing? You go back and risk losing all of your power, all your abilities. It's all just gone. Why risk it? So I say, don't risk it. You have to be powerful within yourself. You have to decide you have to make a conscious decision. I'm going to be powerful. Regardless of what your current situation is, regardless of what your financial situation is. I don't care if you're living in a box on a corner with a cup, you got no money. I don't know how you're looking at this video, if you can see it, but maybe you stole an iPhone, who knows? But it doesn't matter. Whether you're in a homeless shelter, you're in a nice house, whether you're living off the land, it doesn't matter. Wherever you're at, you have to decide a conscious decision that I'm going to be powerful. And you have to mean it. And when you make that decision, it's reclaiming your life. You have to reclaim your energy. Your energy is already there because the energy is you. So when you have to reclaim your life, you're really reclaiming yourself out of this illusion of whatever people might call it. Earth 101, Earth Prime 2.2, the Matrix, doesn't matter. We're here, and it's not a bad thing, but we have become too attached to this place, and we've lost the whole purpose. We're getting caught up in a lot of things that we're just getting caught up in a lot of things that are detracting us from what we really came here for. And the purpose of this reality is to learn how to use our energy and how our thoughts manifest into beliefs. And you have to get it here. And this is the whole point. You must get it here. You must learn this lesson here, because I don't know if I want to reveal that. Okay, fuck, I'm going to talk about it. Look, when you leave this reality, you see how when you dream, things just seem to just magically appear. You think about an elephant on rollerblades, bam, it pops up. You think about you're in that Ferrari with 3 hot women and one has 2 heads, bam, it's there. Whatever you imagine, it pops up, right? Because you're in the dream. You go, well, that was just a dream. Well, no. When you leave this reality, literally, that's how your new existence will be. Your thoughts manifest reality like that. Whatever you imagine, it happens. Unfortunately, sometimes it could be negative. It could be a burning hell or Hades, or it could be a heaven. But both are still an illusion at the end of the day. And it comes back to, even heaven, even the idea of paradise, you still will have to learn how to use your abilities. And unfortunately, if you don't learn how to use them, hey, you might have to do another round of this physical reality, because you haven't learned the lessons yet. You must learn how to manifest, how to control your power and your thoughts. Because once you leave here, and if you're at the level that I'm trying to get you to, it's a whole new ball game. You imagine things, you think of things, they manifest, and then it's alive and it's there, and it's a lot of things that go on. But for now, the focus is you need to learn how to harness your energy, and it starts with you. How powerful do you want to be? Do you want to be that person who keeps sitting down saying, I'm powerful, and then you keep having a relapse into your addictions, and then you cry, and then you got people looking down on you, and then you say, oh, I'll do better, and then you go to rehab, and come on, man, that shit is lame. Let's step it up a bit. So, we hit 30 minutes here. I will put this up. But remember what I said. Whatever your addictions are, whatever your habits are, stop them cold turkey. Just suddenly stop. Right now, you stop, say, and I know people like to deal with time, so okay, let's say you say, tomorrow morning, when I wake up, it's a new day. I'll wake up. You could do this at any point. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It doesn't have to be set on the time. It's good. You could do it right now. Right now is the best point. It all starts right now. Even if it is nighttime, you make the decision now. And you say, all right, I'm going to go to bed. Tomorrow morning will be a new me. And I'm going to reset my life and go on this journey that this very odd individual on the internet that I found by chance has been putting out there for the last 12 years off and on. Although I will not be taking those long breaks anymore. I took a lot of breaks off and on, but you see, guys, what you have to understand is that everyone's going on their own journey and their own trainings and their own enhancing themselves, and including me. And if you look at my old videos and you compare it to now, obviously there's a difference physically as well, but you can see the difference. And I also am on a journey. But fortunately for you, I'm at the point where I could share these things with you, and they will most likely help you on your journey, because you might not be where I'm at. So it will be beneficial to you. Or you might be exactly where I'm at, and it will give you confirmation and justification. And if you feel you are beyond where I'm at, well, that's good for you too. Then you get to look back and say, well, there are other individuals in this reality who are coming along. So it's not a contest, guys. It's not about who's getting what or who's not getting it or who is first. It all just comes back to it's all real and it's all happening. And which side of the fence do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side where everyone's just saying, oh, this none of that stuff is real, it's a bunch of nonsense. Oh, this person said this about me in 1996, I'll never forgive them. Or do you want to just look at those people and be like, good luck with that. I gotta go meditate right now. So, yeah, I'll get back to it. We'll make another video. Please subscribe if you're watching me. If you found me, subscribe. Please watch my old videos. They're old, but there's a lot of valuable information in them. And if you have anything that's interesting, write in the comments. Don't hesitate. And yeah, we'll get back to it. All right, guys. That's it for now. Love you all, and keep your training up. Later.